Hey everyone, my name's Daniel, and today I'm sharing a story that's been sitting heavy in my chest for a long time. It's about betrayal, the kind that doesn't come from a stranger, but from the one person you thought would always be your safe place. I'm 30 now, but this started 2 years ago when I was 28 and living in a small lakeside town in Minnesota. My ex-fiancée, her name was Lila, she was 27, called off our engagement after accusing me of cheating. I hadn't. And recently, I found out the entire situation had been orchestrated by my sister. Her name is Erin. She's 3 years older than me, and up until that moment, she was my everything. Erin was the kind of sister people envied. She was brilliant, witty, brave, the person who walked into any room and owned it without ever needing to try. She was also the one who pulled me through every dark chapter of my life, especially our childhood. Our mom was cruel in ways that didn't always leave bruises, but left scars all the same. She controlled every part of our home, from what we wore to when we were allowed to speak. And our dad, he let her. Erin was the one who stood up for us, who fought back, who protected me when no one else would. I adored her. But she never liked the women I dated. Never. She was always cordial, never outright rude like our mom, but there was always this subtle coldness. I told myself it was just a sister being protective. Then came Lila. I met her during my senior year at the University of Minnesota. We clicked immediately. It wasn't just chemistry. It was like finding the one person who finally saw me, not as someone to fix, but someone to build with. We slept together the first night we met, which was something I'd never done before, but it felt right. I proposed to her 6 months later. She said yes with tears in her eyes, and we started planning the wedding ourselves, every detail from scratch. Lila had her flaws, of course. She could be intense, sometimes jealous, sometimes overly protective. She got upset when I spent too much time with other women, and even with Erin. To be fair, Erin did sometimes act a little too close with me, calling me silly nicknames and putting her arm around me in ways that made Lila uncomfortable. I brushed it off. We were siblings. Erin always said Lila needed to lighten up. Then, a month before the wedding, Lila found a bra and a pair of panties under our bed, ones that didn't belong to her. We were living together by then, and her face just went pale. She looked at me like I was someone she didn't recognize. I was shocked. I had no clue where they came from. She demanded my phone and scrolled through it, growing more and more frantic. Then she screamed. All my messages were gone, wiped. I tried to explain I wasn't tech-savvy. Maybe they were auto-deleted or something dumb like that, but she didn't buy it. She asked me over and over again, "Who is she?" And I laughed, not because it was funny, but because the accusation felt so out of nowhere, so ridiculous. But that laugh, it broke everything. She screamed and left. Didn't take a bag, didn't say goodbye. I panicked, called Erin, and she came over right away. She told me to back off, to let Lila cool down. She said Lila was never right for me anyway, that she was controlling and insecure. She'd said that before, so I didn't think too much of it. When I told her about the missing messages, she just shook her head and said, "That's sketchy, bro. Only cheaters erase their texts." I swore to her I hadn't cheated. She said she believed me, told me to give it time. The next day, Lila's father called. The man had never liked me, and he didn't bother hiding it. "If you're a man," he growled, "you'll tell me the truth." I told him everything I knew. He hung up. Then, hours later, he called again and said, "You and my daughter are done." Click. Just like that, she was gone. The woman I thought I'd grow old with vanished from my life like she had died. I tried going to her parents' place, but they wouldn't let me see her. It took days for it to sink in. When it finally did, I had to start canceling wedding arrangements we'd made together. Most of it was non-refundable. Through it all, Erin was the only person I had left, my anchor. She kept me going when I didn't want to. She dragged me out of bed, shoved food into my hands, told me I'd survive this. I thanked God for her. But I didn't know yet that she was the one who had set the fire and then comforted me while I burned. We were sitting in this tiny bar near the lake, the same one Erin and I used to sneak into with fake IDs when I was in college. She was tipsy, eyes glazed, talking about how most men were garbage, except me, of course. That was her favorite line, the one she clung to like some badge of loyalty. I was already on my third drink, trying to drown out the ache I'd been dragging behind me for months. Then she laughed, this sharp, bitter little sound, and said, "Oh, little bro, she got played. So did you. But hey, it was for the best, right?" I remember blinking, not understanding. "What do you mean?" I asked. That's when her smile died. Her expression flickered, like something short-circuited behind her eyes, and instead of answering, she stood up, stumbled out the door, and sped off in her car, drunk. I stood outside in the cold for a while, just staring at the night, terrified she was going to kill herself or someone else on the road. I called her 5 times. Nothing. The next morning she called. Her voice was raw. She was crying. I could barely hear her over the static hum in my brain. "It was mine," she said. "The bra, the underwear. I wore them, then tossed them under your bed." I didn't respond. I couldn't. It was like she'd spoken in another language. "I erased your texts too," she whispered. "I had your phone. You let me use it all the time. You know how I'm always losing mine." My knees gave out. I sat on the floor and just stared at the wall, holding the phone like it might bite me. "Why?" I asked. My voice didn't even sound like mine. She tried to explain, said it was a joke at first. Then she broke. She told me she never thought Lila respected me, that Lila was possessive, controlling, that she wasn't good enough. She said she loved me, said she knew what was best for me. I dropped the phone. I curled up on the floor like a child and cried until I couldn't breathe, until there was nothing left in me but a hollow, trembling shell. My own sister, my protector, my hero, had destroyed the best thing that ever happened to me, deliberately. That night, I drank until the world blurred and twisted and finally went dark. I haven't spoken to Erin since. I can't. I try to go to work, to play games, to live, but I'm not really there. I'm just moving through it all like a ghost, a zombie. I think about Lila constantly. She's married now, has a little girl. That child should have been mine. I wonder if she ever tells her daughter about the man she almost married, about the life that almost was. I talked to my parents. Big mistake. My mom, unsurprisingly, said she always thought Lila wasn't right for me. Of course she took Erin's side. My dad didn't take any side at all. "I just don't want to be involved," he said. Classic. Thanks for nothing. And Erin? I hate her. I miss her. I want to scream and hug her at the same time. She's all I had, and she wrecked everything. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. Some people online are saying I need to cut her off completely, that she's toxic, manipulative, that what she did wasn't just sabotage, it was something darker, possessive, even abusive, that she didn't want me to be happy unless it was with her nearby, guiding it. Others say she acted like she saw herself as my replacement partner, that maybe she never really wanted me to grow beyond her orbit, that Lila's unease around her wasn't just jealousy, it was instinct. It hurts to read, but I can't say they're wrong. A comment that stuck with me said this: "She said she loves you, that she knows what's best for you, But love doesn't destroy your life. It doesn't plant evidence and erase your truth and steal your future. That's not love. That's control dressed up in family loyalty. And maybe the worst part? They're right. She took everything from me, then held me together while I bled out, like some twisted angel of mercy. And I let her. I clung to her like she was saving me, when she was the one who cut the rope. I don't know how to move on. I don't know if I ever will. It still doesn't make sense to me how someone can destroy your world and then offer to hold the pieces with blood on their hands. People told me not to forget that the comfort Erin gave me after Lila left wasn't kindness. It was damage control. It was her way of making sure I didn't look past her to see what she'd done. And they were right. She wrecked everything. And the worst part is that now I have no one but her left. No one but the person who tore my future to shreds. It's a special kind of loneliness, to lose the love of your life and your only sibling in the same breath, and to know it was never an accident. Some days, I think I'd rather be alone forever than be tethered to a family member who could smile in my face while shattering everything I loved behind my back. A stranger who did this, I could cut them out and sleep at night. But Erin? She was supposed to be the one person I could count on, the one who stood between me and the chaos our parents made of our lives. And yet, she created chaos of her own, just quieter, more cunning. Some say I should forgive her, that time will dull the pain and bring back the bond. But I don't know if I have it in me, because what she took wasn't just a relationship. It was my choice, my dignity, my peace. Others have told me that it never mattered whether Lila was right or wrong for me. That was never the issue. The point is, it wasn't Erin's decision to make. Nobody should be allowed to interfere in your life that way, just because they think they know better. And anyone who's okay with what she did, they don't deserve a place in my life either. I don't care if we share blood. If you believe that kind of betrayal is justifiable, then you're part of the sickness, not the cure. There's a commenter I keep thinking about, someone online who said, "Anyone who manipulates and dismantles your happiness in secret isn't your friend. And they're not your family either. They're a threat. Cut them out the way you'd cut out a tumor." And you know what? That might be the only analogy that truly fits. Because Erin didn't just sabotage my relationship. She spread through my life like something slow and poisonous, pretending to heal what she was actively killing. And now, I'm supposed to rebuild from that? From the ashes of something I never even had the chance to fight for? People have given me advice. Good advice, I think. They've told me to focus on myself now. Take up hobbies, learn something new, fill my days with anything but what used to be. Read more, create something, take back my time. It all sounds productive and right, but it also sounds impossibly far away, like asking someone who's just been dragged from a burning building to start planting a garden. Still, I know they mean well, and I'm trying. I really am. I've been journaling, walking the lakeshore. Sometimes I even imagine learning guitar like I always said I would. But grief moves slow when it comes from betrayal, and slower still when the person who betrayed you still lives inside your memories as the person who once saved you. What hurts more than anything is knowing that if Lila hadn't moved on, if she weren't married with a child now, I'd still want Erin to explain herself, to admit to Lila and her father what she did, to own the wreckage. But what would that even change? There's nothing left to salvage. So I did the only thing I could. I wrote out everything Erin did, and I sent it to my family. I wasn't trying to be cruel, I just needed them to know. I needed to stop feeling like I was screaming into a void where nobody believed me or cared. I told them how she planted her underwear, how she deleted my messages, how she manipulated me while protecting me. I told them how that one choice ruined my life. I ended it by saying something I didn't think I'd ever say out loud, that maybe we were only genetically related, because what Erin did didn't feel like family. It felt like war. And maybe I'll forgive her someday, but not now, not soon. Right now, I need space from all of them. Because if the people who are supposed to love you think it's okay to steal your future, then you're better off standing in the ruins alone than building something new with poisoned hands. I'm still in the ruins, but at least they're quiet now. The decision to marry Lila should have been mine alone, not Erin's, not anyone else's, but especially not hers. And no matter what Erin claims she intended, she stole that decision from me. Worse, she didn't just take away a choice, she took away my name, my integrity, my dignity. I became the guy who cheated, the guy who threw away something beautiful. She let everyone think that, and she stood beside me while I crumbled, pretending she was the one person I could still lean on. What she did isn't some petty family feud. It wasn't a disagreement. It was like if someone didn't like your car, so they lit it on fire and then framed you for insurance fraud, just to teach you a lesson. And then they watched you deal with the fallout and called it love. That's what Erin did. It was calculated, it was cold, it was betrayal dressed up in care. And what hurts more than anything is that some people who share my blood, are still trying to justify it. I've been asking myself the same question over and over again. Are we truly a family? Or are we just related by accident? Just names on the same tree? I sent them all a message. I tried to write it clearly, not with anger, but with truth. I told them I needed space, that I wouldn't be texting for a while, that I hoped they'd take some time to think about what it means to be a family, what trust really requires, what respect really looks like. I'm going to sit with this. I'm going to rewrite the message in my own words before I send it again. Try to say everything I couldn't say when my hands were shaking and my eyes were red. Maybe if I put it down in black and white, it'll finally feel real. And yeah, I've started thinking about therapy. I don't even know where to begin. I've never done it before. But if anyone has suggestions, I'll take them. I know I can't keep doing this alone. There's something else I need to address too, something I wrote in one of my earlier posts. It got a lot of attention, and not the kind I wanted. I want to clarify it now, even if it makes me look worse. When I said Erin and I fooled around as kids, I meant the kind of dumb, confused, meaningless stuff little kids sometimes do, like 4 or 5 years old, playing doctor, nothing more. Not that it was okay, but we were kids. It never meant anything, and it never came up again. And no, I haven't seen my sister naked a million times. That was sarcasm. Just us being weirdly casual about changing clothes when we were teens. That stopped when she went to college. I didn't grow up fantasizing about her. She's not some forbidden object. She's my sister, nothing more. Once, a few years ago, I walked in on her in her underwear by accident. She threw a hairbrush at my head and screamed. That was the extent of it. I've always been sensitive to people making jokes about us. We got teased a lot when we were younger. People saw how close we were and assumed the worst. It got inside our heads. We used to joke about it, hugging in front of people just to mess with them. And yeah, Erin kept doing it after I started dating. She'd hang on me, call me pet names, act possessive in a way that made Lila uncomfortable. I asked her to stop. She laughed, said I was overreacting. Just teasing my little bro, she'd say, always with that smirk. I don't think Erin wanted me, but I think she needed to feel like I still belonged to her, that no matter who I loved, I'd never leave her behind. And maybe she thought Lila threatened that. I don't know. Maybe I'll never really understand. All I know is Erin was my person. She was the one member of my family who ever fought for me. And now she's the one who took the fight out of me. I can't forgive her. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I also don't know if I can go the rest of my life without ever seeing her again. So for now, I'll do the only thing I can. Try to breathe through the wreckage. Try to find something worth rebuilding in the silence that came after the collapse. And for anyone still wondering if this is fake, I get it. I wish it were too. But it's not. This is my life. And yeah, I wish the hangover was fake too. I used to think I was good at laughing off awkward situations. I thought I could spin anything into a joke, smooth out any moment with a chuckle. But this isn't one of those stories. I wish it were. My roommate Paul had gone camping for the week, somewhere way up north, totally off the grid. I had the apartment to myself, and for the first time in a long time, I felt relaxed. Lila, my girlfriend at the time, was over. We were both 29, both weird, and both loved pushing boundaries just to make each other laugh. So when I jokingly asked if she'd be down to hook up while blasting some bizarre dolphin-screeching synth song called Seabat, she just grinned and said yes. It was one of those moments you think you'll always remember for the laughter, not the consequences. It went from ridiculous to surprisingly intimate. We tried it again the next night, this time without warning her. She cracked up mid-kiss when the music started, and somehow that made everything feel lighter, freer, happier. For once, the world felt stupid in all the right ways. Then I remembered Paul's parrot. I'd been taking care of his bird, some red-chested, hyper-intelligent, chattering lory that never stopped squawking. After a year of hearing it screech at all hours, I learned to tune it out completely. What I hadn't learned? That this bird could imitate sounds perfectly. Voices, music, whatever it heard enough of, it remembered. I found that out the hard way. The morning after our second Seabat session, I made some coffee and sat down in the living room. The bird was perched on his stand by the window, preening like he owned the place. I leaned back, closed my eyes, and tried to enjoy a moment of calm. That's when I heard it, a clear, haunting mimic of Seabat's first few notes. At first, I thought I was imagining it, but then it came again. Perfect pitch, perfect timing. I opened my eyes, and the parrot was staring right at me. I didn't even finish my coffee. I bolted. I kept thinking, maybe I could explain it. Maybe I could pass it off as some random sound from the TV or a song on a playlist. But the truth is, I'd played the song loud, twice. And my roommate hates when I even joke around with the bird. He says parrots pick up bad habits fast. And now the bird sings Seabat repeatedly. Paul comes back tomorrow. I've been pacing my room, sweating, trying to figure out how to soften the blow. But the more I think about it, the more I realize I might have just messed everything up for good. Paul isn't like me. He doesn't laugh things off. He doesn't do weird. And he's protective of that bird like it's his child. He might move out. He might cut me off. And weirdly, that thought hurts more than it should. So yeah, I'm scared. And yeah, I know it sounds ridiculous. But sometimes it's the little things that end up breaking what you thought was unbreakable. And sometimes all you can do is wait for the fallout. This may sound like a silly situation, and in some ways it is. But it also shines a light on a truth many people overlook. Boundaries, respect, and emotional understanding matter in every kind of relationship, romantic, platonic, or somewhere in between. If you're in a situation where you've hurt someone unintentionally, own it. Don't wait for them to come to you with the fallout. Apologize. Start the conversation. Sometimes repairing trust begins with a simple acknowledgement. I didn't think it through, and I'm sorry. For those on the other side, communication is just as important. Let people know how you want to be treated. What's funny to one person might feel like a violation to another. Most of all, don't ignore the red flags in yourself or others. If you're constantly walking on eggshells or trying to explain your behavior instead of taking accountability, it's time to reflect. Healthy relationships aren't built on silence or assumptions. They're built on honesty, even in the most awkward, unexpected moments.